Hello, we're back. You guys gonna say anything or?
Hi.
There we go. We are 3-man team today. We have no Brian. Oh, there we go. Game week 7 is past us, and game week 7 is past us. There's a game tomorrow, but that is game week 8, I believe.
Well, that was I think it's the makeup game for that was canceled.
It is when they're home.
From week 2.
So technically not. Okay.
Yeah.
Game week 7, we can go over the games in review. What was the first game of the weekend, boys? Do we have it?
Villa Brighton.
Oh.
Oh my God!
I'm-
What a game!
I'm just going to let you talk. I'm not even going to say anything for the next 10 minutes, probably. Go.
All right, I'm gonna just have a field day because this was the best day ever, ever. Just period. End of sentence. We played so well. We looked so good. I was not worried for an instance. Brighton played terrible. They looked horrible.
For the first time this year, they looked actually bad.
Yeah, I was really concerned going into this game, and I would have been so satisfied with a tie, like a 1-1 tie. Like I was like, you know what, that would be a good result. Fuck that. This was awesome, dude. Every single thing about it. I don't have a negative comment to say about Aston Villa, honestly, in this whole game.
Jeez.
I will have some comments from a Brighton point of view, though, because I think realistically, you could argue that 2 of those goals should have been called back. On the second one, I think it was the second one, Douglas Luiz pulls down Solly Marsh, and then Ollie Watkins is fed in.
Yeah.
And then on the first one, Watkins scores. Zaniolo is in an offside position. VAR looks at it, and they're like, okay, he's not obstructing the line of sight.
Yeah, that one was close for me.
I thought both of them were. I thought the Douglas Luiz one was a foul. I didn't think
Yeah.
the line of sight one was an issue because he beats him near post.
Yeah.
But I thought the Douglas Luiz one was definitely going to get called back. So
That's interesting. That was the second goal of the game, right? So that could have been a turning point.
But also, the way we were playing, I don't think that was going to change the outcome. We looked, from back to front, we looked great. And I'm just like, are we going to do this every game throughout the season now where we play Brighton and win 6-1 and look like fucking studs? And then we're going to go to Europa Conference League in the middle of the week and play like absolute shit? Because that's what we've been doing. We looked like shit against Everton, got smoked there, but beat Chelsea 1-0 before that.
Yeah.
And then we were in Europe the week before that, and we looked fucking terrible and got smoked there. So it's like, are we going to do this one game on, one game off crap? Because I physically can't handle it. Brighton looked slow. They looked out of connection with each other, out of sync. And I think De Zerbi said after the game that it was a little bit of rotation issues because they've never had this heavy of a game fixture with Europa League and the Cup games, where he's like, we're just rotating players and we're still learning on how to cope with that. And that's what he said, and that's fine. Emery's got a lot more experience with that, and even though we're not performing in our other game tournaments at the moment, I believe that that's going to come with time. And, I thought we looked great. I thought everything about our performance was damn near perfect. And even the goal that we let up, I was like, I wasn't even that. I was a little concerned, but I wasn't that concerned. I was ready. I believed that we were going to get more after that because we just looked like every time we had the ball, we were going directly to goal, going to shoot, and everything looked dangerous.
So just out of curiosity, how many times did you need to change your pants during this game?
Oh, at least
every goal.
Well, listen, and then we said this last week also. Ollie Watkins, we said he's such a streaky goal scorer.
We did.
We said that
now that he's this long to bring him up.
I know we actually haven't spoken about him yet.
I'm just as a team, I was just so happy for that performance. But we said it last week that he gets one, he's gonna start getting more now. He just had to get that one, and bam, just like that, he got a hat trick. He'll probably won't play, or at least won't start in the game against in our Europa League game this week, who I forget it's against. And
Conference League.
Europa League?
Conference League, sorry. Conference League.
That's a very big distinction.
Europa League's what we will play in when we win the Conference League. So I think that now that he's found a little bit of form, he'll probably go on a hot run where he scores, anywhere between, he's at 4 right now, anywhere between a total of 6 to 10 goals, and then he's probably going to go on a dry spell again. We're all going to be complaining about why he doesn't score goals.
Who's the Golden Boot right now? Leader? It's Holland. Does he have 7, 6? 7? I'm just saying, my Watkins pick for third was looking really bad until this week. My bold take is has some steam again. So
Yeah.
we have a chance.
Watkins
we have a chance.
is now in 4th place. He's tied for 4th place with 4 goals.
Son, right?
Holland has 8. Son has 6. Bowen has 5. And then there's a 1, 2, hang on.
Bowen,
8-way tie for 4th place with 4 goals.
Bowen that has 5. That's a sneaky.
He does, yeah.
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 But
He just scores like one a game. It's not. There's no like big 2, 3 goal. It's just,
Yeah.
I just feel like he scores once a game, which is honestly great.
all you gotta do.
yeah, but overall, stellar performance. So the whole team I thought played well. I don't think anyone particularly played bad. The worst player on the team was Konza, and that's just because he didn't have anything to do.
What was the injury? Didn't Diaby come out of this or something?
I don't think that I didn't read anything on it, but Diaby came out and Kamara came out, but I don't think that there was anything said. I haven't seen anything on social media that said that they were
Probably
injuries.
good news.
I
would
think
say.
it's more preventative. They were cramping up later in the game. That being said, if it is an injury, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
All right, well,
And
that's
we've
good.
just
hopefully not.
Yeah, one more thing. We've all been high on Estupinian at the start of the season. I think this is his worst game by far. He did have an own goal. I think he also had an error that led to a goal. But again, that could just be due to overuse and, like we said, extra cup games and stuff that he might not be used to. I think this is just a fluke for Brighton.
Nothing to do with Villa's goodness. You're right.
Shut up.
That's not. I'm not taking anything away from Villa here. I think they deserve to win this game, obviously. But I think that they'll bounce back next week and.
Yeah,
they'll
I
be
think
fine.
that this is like a 5-1 loss to Newcastle for us. Like
sure. Bring
it's a
it back to
one-off.
Villa.
It's a one-off. They'll be fine next week.
Are we good? Good. All right, moving on. You want to go to United Palace? Do you want to do that?
United suck, and
There we
Brian's
go.
not here to defend them.
Not that
Every
he could.
time
Not
he's
that there's
not
much
here.
to defend, to be honest.
United looked terrible. Palace dominated the game. I only really have one thing I want to say about it, the whole game as a whole. There was no goal threat from United for the entirety of the game.
With 78% possession, which is pretty crazy.
In the 50, I believe it was the 56th minute, Tyreek Mitchell's running down the left side of the pitch, and Pellistri strips him, does a great 1-2 with Hoyland, and then tries to sweat it back across. I think he should have shot it, but he tries to sweat it back across.
I did see this. Yep.
Yes, and from that moment on, the fans sounded so much louder, and United were on the front foot. And I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, everything was kind of passive. They didn't look like they were really threatening the net. And then that moment happened, and every shot, every cross, every ball looked like it just went up a gear. Kind of like how Manchester City can just kind of flow through the gears. It finally looked like United hit that next level. And I was like, you waited till almost the 60th minute to finally get there.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I think Marcus Rashford, I used to love him, but what is he doing?
Yeah.
I think he's got to get benched to just, he's got to get benched to, earn his place again because he's not putting in the performance. I think he has 1 goal in 7 games to start the season, which, he's supposed to have much higher standards than that, especially for a team of United's caliber that wants to push for Champions League and before the season started, the title probably. He's just not been stepping up to what he needs to do. And again, it could just be a form thing, but he has not looked good.
Honestly, you guys said a lot of what I was going to say. A shout out to Crystal Palace, though, like we said. I mean, they got dominated possession, but scored their 1 goal, took 3 points at Old Trafford. And now, this is again, I think, 2 or 3 weeks now where United has dropped points at home. Not dropped points, lost at home. I think they lost twice. I think Brian kind of said it last week. It's like that, lure of United is just not there anymore. Like people aren't afraid to go play them. People are afraid to go to Old Trafford. It's just mediocre at best at this point.
I will say, on a positive note, if we're going to talk about United that way, their next 1, 2, 3, 4 games, they should be getting. They basically should go on a 4-game winning streak.
We said that
Should've
about
won
the
this.
Palace game.
We did. So I'm going to take that out now. That's in the past. They got Galatasaray in the Champions League. Then they have Brentford at home, Sheffield away, and they have Copenhagen in the Champions League. Following that, they've got City, Newcastle, Fulham, and Copenhagen again.
Yikes.
So it's like you got to, if you were going to want to get any form going into City and Newcastle, it's got to happen now.
I think I saw someone online say at this, I know we talk about the Ten Hag thing, and I think he's the 3rd or 4th betting coach or manager to get fired next. People were talking about how, I know last year he got such great praise for what he was doing, And they brought up like how Ole got fired for basically putting up the same performances that Ten Hag is putting up now. And people liked Ole. Problem is, I don't think people like Ten Hag, so I think it's the not critique. What am I looking for? Criticism is just going to be so much louder because he's not that like likable figure like Ole was, who was a club legend. So like I feel like he gets a little bit more pass from the fans. But like if you have that like stone face attitude, and you know we've had some dust up with players already, I think the hot seat gets hotter a lot quicker when you're that type of person. And I think he's going to start falling in that if they don't get results from the games you just listed.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the problem is that because this is not new stuff at Manchester United. Like Sir Alex Ferguson had falling outs with players. It's just because when he had falling outs with players, they then won trophies.
Yeah, they still win.
You know, even with Roy Keane, look what happened there. He drops the captain, sells him, and the team still it still becomes a great team. It's almost that there's got to be something else going on with the ownership or management or somewhere where they need to start producing results. It kind of just comes down to that. You can have all this off-pitch issues, and you can start sending guys away from the locker room and away from training. But if you're not winning results, you know, it's going to become extra stuff that's just going to be a burden on the manager and the players, and then it's going to look worse.
I just don't think they have that leader in the team that will, you know, have that conversation in the locker room that you need. You know, Bruno's a great player, but I just don't know if he's like that kind of leader. I'm sure some United fans will disagree with me on this, but like you've had people like Wayne Rooney and other players in the past that stand for no bullshit, and I just think the locker room is not where it needs to be, especially with the whole Sancho situation and you know other things in the past. But I just think there needs to be a lot of changes and improvements in attitude within the locker room itself in order for the changes to be reflected on the pitch.
Slightly off topic. We got called out only by one person for calling it a locker room. What should we be calling it?
I honestly have no idea.
I don't know
either.
either. I didn't know. Yeah, it was one of the TikTok comments. They were like, locker room,
Dressing
LOL.
room?
That's why I'm like, I didn't really know what.
Oh, I could see dressing room. Yeah, I don't really see a
assuming
distinction between the two.
I'm assuming there's another word that they probably refer to it more.
Well, if it shouldn't be called locker room, please tell us what it should be called.
But I thought that was funny because like I didn't even think twice when we said it, and like I was like, oh, I guess there isn't.
But there's lockers in the room. And it's a room.
And just before we skip to the next game, how about Crystal Palace's back four for playing absolutely superb? The low block was great. They looked impenetrable, and I thought that they did an excellent job. Every time Bruno or Rashford or someone got the ball, their heads were down immediately, and they looked like they only could go backwards.
Yeah, and also shout out to Chris Richards getting an appearance in this game.
And we didn't even talk
US
about
national.
Anderson's goal, who was a rip.
Right,
too.
the winning
an
goal.
absolute stunner.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great goal. I think Onana could have done a little bit better. I think it was more of just like the speed of the shot and probably not really expecting it. But yeah, props to him. Another great finish, and Crystal Palace come away with a very deserved 3 points. Tough game.
All right, here we go. Moving on to, we'll go Newcastle Burnley.
Did anybody expect anything other than this result?
No,
really
I mean I think a Newcastle win is kind of where we all saw this going.
So, at what point does Vincent Kompany start getting a little scared?
Well, we talked about last week. I believe we said they had the hardest schedule to start the season, and after this game, I think there's a run, which I think we talked about it last week, but it's a pretty easy, not easy run, but an easier run going forward.
Yeah, it's Luton, Chelsea, Brentford, Bournemouth, Everton, Palace, and that's...
You just got promoted. I think you have to give them at least the first half of the of the season.
Sorry, the Everton game is a EFL Cup game, so
Okay.
it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. How many points do you think they need to get from those 5 games?
I think if they get 7, they're okay. 2 wins and a tie out of 5.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
I don't think
we give them 4. Win and a tie, maybe.
You're getting 4 out of a possible 15?
Yeah.
I said 7.
I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're playing bad-looking football. I just think that, what Garrett said, they had a really tough run.
Yeah. Shout out to Almiron, scores in the 14th. Isaac gets a
that
pen
guy.
later. It's impossible not to like him, honestly, I think. Yeah, I mean, the Newcastle dominated chances. I don't really have too much else to say about this game, really. We're just waiting for Burnley to hopefully put something up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next game in our tabs here, we have, oh, God, Wolves City. I would like to put on record that I said this was going to be a shitty game last week, and I knew it because just for some reason, I just had a feeling.
Go ahead.
It's like, it's so annoying because it's like,
I dropped Jose Sa in fantasy because I said, oh, he's playing City. He's going to get fucked up. And then I started Pickford because I was like, oh, they're playing Luton. He's going to have a ton of saves. And it absolutely boned me.
You still won. Shut up.
I did, but that was really upsetting.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where it just seems like nothing's going your way. Like, you get a chance and, like, someone makes, like, a miraculous clearance or we send a good ball across. It gets toe poked as Holland goes to – I forget, one of the defenders made a great ball. I think Doku played one across or maybe I think it might have been Doku. Play was one across to Holland and just the defender makes an incredible tackle right before it can get to Holland's foot. I think Alvarez and Doku were the only two, I think, that played good in this game for City. Alvarez, I think, has been my bright spot for this season, the things I didn't expect. I mean, shout out to Wolves. I mean, they played a great game. They played solid defensively. They took the beating. They 8 shots on target. We had almost 70% possession, and they had 1 shot on target and 1 2-1. So,
They took their chances. That's all you got to do.
So it's just like, yeah, obviously it wasn't the result you want. I mean, I think City just didn't have it this day. And I think it's going to start getting to the point where it sucks to drop points like this again. Luckily, we're still, I think, top of the table by 1 point right now over Spurs and Arsenal. I think we're going to have some drop-off in play, and hopefully this doesn't kind of snowball into more results being dropped. But there's no, like, alarms being set off. I mean, every season we have a game like this, I feel like, where we just lose against a lesser opponent for whatever reason. Pep wasn't on the sideline for this one. He was in the stadium, though. He got a yellow card accumulation, so he wasn't technically managing this game. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to pretend this week didn't happen in my head.
Yeah.
Any comments from the fellas?
Do you think the way Alvarez has been playing, KDB comes back fit, does Alvarez immediately lose his spot, or is it okay now KDB has to earn it?
I don't think KDB ever has to earn it at this point. I think they'll work him back slower than they maybe would have if has Alvarez not been doing this. You know what I mean?
Play KDB more as a 6 and play Alvarez as the 10 because you rather than have both of them on the field.
I think Foden drops out.
I really like Alvarez playing in the center.
I don't think you drop Alvarez when he gets. I think you can play KDB and Alvarez together.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too. Like you would think, like at this point, Doku's come undroppable, which you would not have expected. I mean,
I'm
obviously,
so glad I picked him up in fantasy.
He's been again a bright spot in a game that wasn't bright, but he's become undroppable. So I mean, in reality, Foden is probably the more likely to be knocked out of the lineup for Alvarez to swing wide, which again I don't like. But I think Alvarez plays better. I mean, in reality, he came here as a 9, and then just happens to be behind the best 9 in the world, so doesn't get a chance to really play his natural position, but has really taken on the playing the 10. He's played it well. So, but again, it's Kevin De Bruyne we're talking about.
Yeah,
like
I mean, Foden has.
It's just like that's who we're talking. Again, he's fighting over 2 positions for arguably of the 2 best players that play those positions.
Yeah.
So.
What are your thoughts on Vardiol not starting?
I mean, Ake put in a horrible performance, so I don't think he'll ever not start again.
Akanji's look good.
Akanji's a solid defender. Ake looked like he was lost. I don't know if it was because he hasn't been playing that much.
I think it's rotation, honestly.
It's definitely rotation, but Pep always rotates. We know this is why I don't think I've drafted a City player in fantasy for the last 3 years because I just hate having to check the lineup every single time. But yeah, I think this rotation and it just kind of bit us in the ass that Ake had just a shit game. And the Diaz own goal obviously didn't help. But anything else?
Are we gonna talk about Pep's comments?
The Korean guy.
I mean, that's just. If anyone's gonna score, I'm so happy it was him.
You know what I think too? Like I was like looking at the clip, and like it was him talking, and like the problem was he was like already gonna mention him, and I think at that point you can't like get the name wrong because I think that's worse.
Well, I don't know, but
like I'm just saying, like
I get it.
The Korean guy wasn't
it's
great.
not great.
Yeah, it wasn't. Neither way, it was good. But shout out to the Wolves social media team though; they did it pretty good when he scored the goal. It was like the Korean guy in
Yeah,
quotes. That
yeah.
was pretty funny. So shout out to the Wolves
Well, he
social
knows his
media
name
team.
now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He's actually having a good season too. I think
Yeah,
he's Wolves leading goal scorer, I think, by a decent amount.
4 goals in 7 games.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Being a Wolves striker, I mean, nothing
Well,
against
goals
Wolves.
had to come from somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I did
Well,
not.
not
like-
always. Well,
Yeah. Well, I did not like that this happened because Wolves have been playing shitty, and then they have Villa next week in a derby match.
just to
so,
really. Yep.
yeah, not thrilled.
So yeah, I'll just bury my sorrows in this game, and we'll go to Dan so he can be happy. Ready, Dan? Go.
Yay. Yeah, 4-0 away at Bournemouth. I wasn't expecting to be this bad a result. We did have 2 penalties. Odegaard took the first, and probably the biggest talking point is Kai Havertz taking the second one. I saw a lot of shit on social media saying like, "Oh, like that's so unprofessional. Like you're supposed to have like your set penalty taker. He takes it, whatever." I'm like, if he's like, the fact that Havertz scores this is huge for his confidence. And I don't know if you guys saw the game, but like the crowd was insane.
Oh
They were chanting like they were singing Waka Waka.
that is one of the
You see
funniest
that?
chants. It's so good.
Literally the entire second half after he scored, that they sang that throughout Bournemouth Stadium. It was just ringing throughout the entire stadium. So I think you could just see on his face too, like the relief, because obviously the 007 jokes and everything like that he got, which Mudryk too, but we'll talk about that later.
Big week for guys like having been able to score, huh?
Yeah. But very happy for Havertz. I still think he has a lot to prove. It was a penalty, but again, hopefully that kind of,
And it shows like the team was like still behind him. Like they didn't give up on him, obviously. Like which you'd hope, but
yeah, exactly. And I think one thing I love about this team is just like they all seem like they're so like close and like connected, which I think does a lot for a team. So even like Odegaard giving him the pen, I think that shows true captaincy there, because not every captain's going to do that. They want to go for the glory and whatever.
And it was actually, I mean, this is still a close game when that pen, like it's 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
And the 53rd, like it's not like it's like you were up 6 and he gave it to him. So I mean,
and I think that's why people gave him shit too. Is like you won your assured penalty takers to score that, but he's a good penalty taker. He's taken a lot over the summer too, from what I've seen. He's made them all.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too nervous, and just the boost of confidence I think is great. Other than that, I think we looked solid defensively. Bournemouth really didn't Raya didn't have too much to do in the back. No real chances on net.
2 weeks in a row for Raya.
Yep, 2 weeks in a row. The more I see him, the more I like him. He's just so assured with at his feet. There was a ball that he played Zinchenko in, beautiful, which started a counterattack, which Ramsdale I'm not sure he could do,
or at least accurately.
Accurately, yeah. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say. Yeah, happy with the win, 4-0, and we'll take it and move on to City. I think that's a good. I think that's a good result before we play, City next week.
Clay, you want to add anything? You want to go to the next game?
No, I think that's about it.
All right, sounds good. Here we go. Next game on our docket. Docket. That's what I'm looking for. There it is.
Okay,
That was bad.
Someone had to do it, Brian.
That was fucking bad. Here we go. West Ham, Sheffield, and here we go.
Sheffield suck, don't they?
I
I feel terrible.
You know what
for
sucks
them.
is that they suck and they're boring. Like, remember when back in the day, when Leeds was bad? Like, at least they were bad, but it was exciting.
yeah.
They
like
were bad, but they were
Sheffield-
losing games 3-4.
Yeah, Sheffield sucks and they're boring.
Yeah.
That's a really bad combination to have.
Yeah, it's not great.
West Ham kind of rolling on, though. Had a good game. Bowen, like we said, scored again. Souček scores here. Yeah, I personally didn't have time to watch this game. Big result for West Ham. Anyone have anything to add analysis-wise or results-wise?
I mean, West Ham, they're 13 points. They're 7th in the table. They're off to a great start this season. Kind of surprising to me, losing Rice, who was their best player, one of their best players. You weren't really sure how that was going to translate to start the new season, but they've looked really good going forward. I think Bowen's had a great start to the season. Obviously, the signing of Ward-Prowse has been, incredible.
Huge.
Yeah,
Probably top two signing, top 3 signing in the league.
Oh yeah, I
we
would
should
say
do
so.
that. We should rank who we think the best signing is.
We'll save that for a segment later on.
Yeah.
I like it.
Next week.
Watch, they're all going to get hurt this week. We jinxed everything.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Jared Bowen, Thomas Souček, the 2 goals in this game. They take care of business at home. Clayton, anything?
I was saying, I think Antonio kind of slowed down. Didn't we talk about like how
He had
he's
an
kinda,
assist today.
Yeah, I'm just like I know goal
Today,
scoring.
yeah.
We were like, oh, like maybe this will be a season he can kind of like resurge and think. I mean, they get a lot of goals. It seems like from the wings. So two
Yeah.
quality assists in this game.
He's a hold up forward, and he's showing that he's got the strength, but he doesn't have the pace he had a couple seasons ago. And
Right.
I think that he's fitting into the system well. I will say that I think in the first couple pods I was very much West Ham are not going to be the team that they used to be, and I'm eating those words because they looked very good.
Well, I mean, last year they were bad, so we kind of know like they lost Rice. They were bad last season. We didn't really know how Alvarez was going to play in the Prem.
Yeah.
Then they made the signing of Ward-Prowse, and I think things kind of settled down quickly once they did that.
Yeah. Just on Sheffield, I don't know. Like looking at their fixture list, I don't know where the points are going to come from.
There's not going to be points. I think that's the point of them being bad.
No,
back
I mean
down.
they have Fulham, United, Arsenal, Wolves, and Brighton next. And I mean, like, yeah, maybe you get a point off Fulham, but none of those games are easy. None of those games are. Oh yeah, 3 points.
Well, I remember go back to our first episode. We played the over/under game. It was for Luton, and we said 19.5. I think honestly, this might be one of the lowest points for the 20th place. I think this season. I honestly I can't. There's teams I'm watching play, and I don't think they're going to pass 15.
I almost think that Luton has a competitive edge because it's their first time in the Prem, and the fans are amped to be there, and every day it's electric. Where Sheffield, they've been here once before.
They bounced. Yeah.
They've done a little bit of a bounce, and I mean, and I love Cameron Archer who was at Villa, and I just wanted him to have a good career. And I could
feel like
always bring it back to Villa.
We have talked about Villa in every game so far. I think.
I could do it in every game, man. But even watching him play, I'm like, where was the guy that I've watched in the championship? Like when he was on loan, he looks like a different guy now.
To Garrett's point, though, I just feel like the league this season is so, the disparity in quality from top to bottom is like really significant. I think like the top 4 or top 6, whatever, versus the bottom 6 is just incredibly different in quality. Like you like know going into those games, like you're not going to get those teams are not going to get a point.
Did you see that tweet I sent you the other day?
I never
About
read
Leicester.
anything you send me.
Thank you.
Which one?
I'm sorry?
Which one?
I don't remember.
It was about Leicester City. They're currently first place in the championship. And it was just a screenshot of their lineup. And some guy quote tweeted it and said, how the fuck is this team in the championship? Their lineup for the last game they played in had Vestergaard, James Justin, Jamie Vardy, Dewsbury Hall, Winks, Ndidi, Ricardo Pereira, and Fez, Wout Fez, the Belgian guy. I don't know the two wingers, but how is that team in the championship?
They'll be right back up.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a one season down for them. I mean, shout out to them because most of their players from last season, other than Madison and Tielemans, pretty much didn't jump ship. They're all still there.
Harvey Barnes,
as well.
the
I forgot.
absolute
Is he a Nacho
traitor
still
that
there?
he is.
What?
Is he a Nacho still there? Or
He
did
is. Nacho's still there.
So I mean, it's again these are quality guys that have been Prem proven. So I mean, it's not going to be a short stint, I think, for championship for Leicester.
And
Well,
Castagna
speaking of teams that have been promoted, big win here for the boys of Luton. Woo! Sorry, Everton fans, you lose at home to arguably the worst team in the league, aside from maybe Sheffield. Yep, 2-1 Luton. Yeah, it's Everton, man. As I think Brian said last week, they need to find some consistency.
Did you say consistency?
I think I said consistency.
Say it a couple more times.
We'll know if Brian listens to this and he texts us and yells at us.
That'll be the first thing he says.
But yeah, anyone want to shout out this game?
The one thing I want to say is in fantasy, I benched Tarkowski last week. And they played – who'd they play? They played someone good last week or someone decent.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he hasn't done shit for me all week or all season. Like averaged like 2 points a game, going on my bench. Scores 35 points. Play him this week against Luton, and he drops like 2 points. I'm like, what is going on with this guy?
Yeah, they played Brentford last week. He had a goal and assist.
Ridiculous.
That's actually really funny. But yeah, Everton I think is a team this season that we're just never going to know what you're going to get. I think Carlton Morris has done a pretty good job since coming up. I think every time I watch, he has at least 2 chances a game. Scored 1 here. I think he's a couple penalties on the year. But yeah, Luton get their first win again. Not at Kettleworth. They're at Goodison here, so big away win for them. They have a chance to get points possibly tomorrow. They play Burnley, as we spoke about earlier,
which we'll talk about in the following week's podcast. We will not have a midweek one for that.
So yeah, I mean, if you're Luton, you win this game, you have a chance to win tomorrow. You get 6 points. I mean, that would be a hell of a week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already out of the relegation zone with 4.
Yeah,
and they're a game
how
behind.
How sad is that?
And they're a game behind.
Man, big 4 points is really just pumping them out.
And they're only in 17th because they're tied on goal difference. Everton's beating them all in goal difference.
Yeah.
And the bottom half of the table is tighter than we're making it appear.
Oh, no, yeah. I think we're just talking about quality of play as opposed to just points. I mean, it's week 7. It's tough to make, it's going to be tight for a while. I don't have much else to say. Yep. Okay, good. Here we go. Moving on
Probably
to
the big game.
Oh yeah, I mean this is going to be the game people talk about and has more controversy than
I don't
ever.
want to talk about this game. This was disappointing.
Did you say you don't want to talk about this game?
I don't. This is the referees ruined this game for me. First off,
Go ahead.
Curtis Jones, not a red card. Oh, fuck the two of you.
I don't think so either. I'm with you.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm with you. I think it's very harsh. Go ahead.
I'm just going to as this season has been called, I think it's a red card.
As the season has been called, the consistency, thank you, Brian, has been terrible in the officiating.
But I think we keep complaining that fouls like this are being red carded, but at least it's still being red carded. Like we've complained about it a couple times, where a challenge, a guy goes in for the ball, misses the ball. It was the McAllister situation again. Both sucks that both were against Liverpool. I mean, that's obviously not great. But I mean, it was the same thing. He went in for the ball, had a weird roll over the ball, and then it ends up spiking the guy in the ankle, whatever the hell it hit him. But it's if you're gonna keep calling it like that all season, then okay, fine, it's a red. I don't like it personally as someone who's played the game. Shit like this happens. You obviously you're not meaning in to go harshly, but if you're gonna call it like that for every team all season, then I guess it's a red.
It's a contact sport.
I know.
Accidents happen, and I don't think. Listen, if you want to give him a yellow for that, and you want to say, "Hey, man,
we did originally,"
it looks terrible. Yeah, and I think it should have stayed a yellow.
Stuck it.
Because in the context of the Premier League, this is a huge result for both of those teams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I hate seeing the refs have this much of a. And we're not even getting to the other controversial parts.
Yeah.
We'll get there. That'll be a discussion.
I hate that the refs in the Curtis Jones got red card real early, didn't he?
26.
In the 26th minute, the refs said, "Yeah, we're gonna fuck Liverpool over here."
Well, I
know they probably didn't use those words, but
in the fantasy group chat, because I was driving to something for work, so I didn't get to watch this game. Really, I had to watch the highlights afterwards. We got a text from the Spurs fan in the EPL group chat that was like, "That's not a red." So I'm like, for him to come out and say that, I could tell that it was a Liverpool player that got sent off. So I mean, that just shows even someone who's a Spurs fan didn't agree with the call. So obviously it's controversial. Obviously.
I hated that red card. I hate everything about it.
It just changes the game that early on too, and it just sucks that like we said, it's one of those calls that I feel like it looks worse than it is. I mean, obviously there is bad contact, but
his studs hit the guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely contact, but like we said, he goes through the ball. There's clear touch on the ball first, and I think just the way that the camera makes it look, which obviously it's how it happened, but looks worse than it was.
Kills that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's gotten to the point where you almost need to understand the environment you're in and forget the rules a little bit and say, it's 0-0. We're 26 minutes into this game. These are two teams that one of them definitely has title aspirations. The other one, top 4, and the way they're playing, you can argue title aspirations.
What are you referring to?
Spurs. Okay. You really don't. Do you really want to? I mean, I get it's not. He clearly didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident. The momentum of his foot took him over the ball. You're really gonna just kneecap Liverpool 26 minutes into this game that hundreds of thousands of millions of people are sitting there watching, going, "This is the rest of the game," and this isn't even the worst part of the fucking refereeing in this game.
Before we get to that, because I know it's gonna be a long discussion, I was kind of surprised that Gakpo got the nod here to start this game. Anyone else?
I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Because we talked, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago how we felt like Nunez kind of like solidified that starting spot. He was going to be the 9 going forward. And this is arguably one of the biggest games they're going to have this season. And Gakpo gets the nod over Nunez, so I thought that
And
was
he scores.
interesting. Yeah, and Gakpo scores. So.
Although, did anybody see what happened to him?
Who?
Gakpo?
You could tell us.
I'm asking. I don't.
I know.
Saw,
No.
Did you see what happened to him at the goal?
No.
So he scores the goal, and he immediately goes down, grabs his knee, twisted it. And I didn't see if they released a statement on saying whether or not it was an injury. He got subbed out right after. It was right at halftime.
I will look it up. You want to get into the controversy while I look this up?
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, what the fuck was that offside?
There we go.
Are you kidding me? I'm sitting at home, like half watching it, half doing shit around the house, and I'm like,
Several
he's
weeks.
on.
By the way, several weeks for
Several weeks for
Gakpo.
Cody Gakpo.
So I guess Nunez is going to start.
is.
And that, but at the same time, don't you just feel terrible for that guy? And if that red card doesn't happen, it's probably a totally different situation for that game. And now you're talking about he's getting hurt because he's feeling he has to bust his ass, twist his body in an uncomfortable, unnatural position.
Are you
hurt
blaming
himself.
the red card for Gakpo getting
I'm
hurt
going to blame the
20
red
minutes
card
later?
for everything. Yes, because it changes the entire landscape of this game.
You're being a little much.
I am being a little much, and I do not give a fuck. I think it's terrible for this high profile of a game to give a red card in the 26th minute for something that debatably wasn't a red card, because I don't think it was anyway. I think it's terrible.
So after the game, it's released pretty quickly after the game that they basically said, "Hey, we fucked you guys." It's basically what it was said. What said notice?
Paraphrasing, but yeah.
my words, but basically what they said was, "Yeah, we fucked you. We missed the guy that was standing a yard past back."
Inexcusable. Like, how do you miss that? Like, it's just with the technology that we have, how is that missed?
So apparently,
Like, how is the angle just not the whole back line? I don't understand.
well, apparently with the VAR guy, he thought that the on-field ref called it a goal. So
yeah,
he
this is
said,
what I heard too. Yeah.
He said, "Yes, we're good. Decision approved." Not realizing that they had flagged it offsides, and then Spurs had kicked the ball in so quickly that he had no time to then go, I fucked up. It should be a goal.
Yeah,
and
that's what I
because
heard as
Spurs
well.
restarted the game, they couldn't go back and change it.
It's insane. Like that is insane. And again, we talked. This is coming off last week too, where I forget which game it was, but we talked about how they almost called the goal offsides because they looked at the wrong fucking time of the play. Like, this can't happen.
Stupid shit that just shouldn't be happening.
I'm buying more and more, especially for offsides, into that AI computer stuff, because that's what they're doing in the Champions League. That's what they're doing in Serie A. And I don't follow Serie A that closely, but I have not heard these level of complaints in the Champions League.
I have not.
Granted,
either.
it's
only been
1
2
week.
weeks, right?
I'm sure there will be, but
So the overall discussion that's been brought up this week, as it's brought up every week, VAR fucks up. How do we feel? Do we want no VAR? Do we want limited VAR? Do we want it as it is and just hope that people aren't stupid? What's your thoughts?
I feel like if we were to get rid of it now, it's like the fact that we already introduced it. If we were to remove it, people are going to complain like, oh, if we had VAR, like, I feel like just because it's been introduced and let's like call a spade a spade. It has been good on some occasions. It has made right calls, but it's more of like these calls where it gets into the limelight where we realize, okay, this is a potential 3 points for Liverpool that could, affect their season at the end of the season. So I don't know. I just feel like if you were to get rid of it, there would be some people. I just feel like it's like a very fluid situation. I don't really know how it would turn out.
Yeah, I think it was there was an interview. Pulisic came out this week. He was doing a podcast, I think, with Tim Ream actually, who said he's against it completely, doesn't want it at all. But I think, like we said, like how many games? This goes, I guess, as almost a positive for it. But like, how many games did we watch on the weekend where a goal gets scored and it's offsides and it's checked and called back and the correct call is made? Like, I get these mistakes should not be made, but it's like, how many times would you rather have a mistake every now and then or get offsides goals every game, like you said, and then you have to go, well, if we had VAR, that wouldn't happen.
I'm so against VAR.
Yeah,
I
because
totally-
Villa stayed up in the Premier League because there was no VAR at the time.
No, there was VAR, but they blocked the goal scoring system.
Oh, okay.
I remember that. No, there wasn't VAR, but they still blocked because they had the watches.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like the refs almost rely on it too much to the point where they don't make the calls they should be making because they're like, oh, VAR will get it. And especially with offsides, how many times have you seen a guy who's blatantly offsides and the defenders bust their ass, the forwards bust their ass to get there, and then the guy waves his flag at the end? Someone's going to pull a hamstring that way.
Well, that was the Van Dijk injury. That was was the Van Dijk injury. They played on from a foul. I think that would have hit. Well, offsides, that would have got called back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wasn't it someone on Villa?
Well, maybe both.
Who was the player that got
Van
hurt?
Dijk was with...
that was Ederson.
What?
Wasn't it? Wasn't it
No,
Van
Van
Dijk?
Dijk Pickford basically
Oh,
fucking tackled him.
Pickford.
No, Villa, the Tyrone Mings one with Villa, that was fine. But I can see it happening the number of times, especially for teams like Liverpool who play a high line, Villa who play a high line.
Where you're just chasing, right?
Where all of a sudden you turn, you look at the ref, he's not raising his flag. So you're like, great, I'm about to do a 45-yard sprint at full fucking speed because now I don't know if this guy's offsides or not. Someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to pull a hamstring, something, and then the argument's going to be, well, if he would have raised his flag a little bit earlier, he wouldn't have made that sprint.
But then again, devil's advocate, if they raise the flag and it's wrong,
I think that years ago when the refereeing was bad, we had when the refereeing was bad before VAR, we had maybe one thing to talk about a weekend. We have 3 things to talk about in this game.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be checking it.
Yeah, and it comes down to human error at that point. And I think we can all get, like, people make mistakes.
Yeah.
And, like, if there's no VAR, like, okay, if you miss an offsides, that happens. It's part of the game. We never had VAR, obviously, when we were playing growing up. Now that we expect to have it, but it's like it's part of the game. And now there's technology that's supposed to fix this from happening, and we're still seeing mistakes. And I think that's what frustrates people is that, like, we implemented this so that there wouldn't be mistakes anymore, but we're seeing them, and it's being blown up to, you know.
If they want to, I would be happy if they got rid of VAR outside of the offsides, and they made the offsides AI draws lines and says yes or no, because that way at least there's going to be no errors, and the on-field referee is responsible for everything from everything else, and that guy has got to have to be good at his job to make sure that he is confident in whatever sort of call he's making.
That's kind of the boat I was on as well, because I think sometimes like the VAR like foul reviews, it still comes down to human interpretation of the situation. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing I don't like about it. Like, yes, you just give someone else a chance to look at it, but like it still comes down to human interpretation. So there's still errors that can be made.
Sorry, I thought another thing. I think if we're going to keep this VAR system the way it is, I think that they need a retired player in that box, not just an official, because that way a retired player can sit there and look at the challenge or look at the tackle or look at the offsides and provide some sort of almost like color commentary on it. So that way the officials aren't looking at it in just a freeze frame or slow-mo and going, yeah, it's a red.
Well, that's why the slow-mo, I think, really makes everything appear worse than it is. And we say that a lot of times when a lot of these fouls get called. But I think it's going to be an ongoing discussion. We're only 7 weeks in. I think we've brought up a VAR decision 6 out of 7 weeks, if not 7 weeks.
Yeah. And now we get to talk about Jota's red card.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot he got double yellowed. Didn't he get double yellowed? He got straight red.
He did. And I think
the
both
second
of them
yellow
were soft.
Yeah.
And by soft, I mean I don't even think – it doesn't look like he makes contact on either of them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those weird things. Especially, I think it was the second yellow when he like is running and the other, I forget who it was, but he's just running and in his stride he clips his knee, or it looks like he kind of touches his knee.
I think he fouled Undugi, the Italian outside back.
You're definitely
Udogie.
saying that wrong.
I totally am.
Udogie or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I actually think that's it.
I was like, that was not right.
But yeah, it's like, and the fact that he's on a yellow and he gives him another yellow for that, like, I don't think it, again, they're already down a man, and like obviously you shouldn't make calls because they're at 10 men, but even still, I don't think it's a second yellow offense.
Also, if we're splitting hairs here, the officials have been told that when you tell the official to give someone a card, you get a card. While Undugi was on the ground,
You're still getting this wrong.
Apologize. While he was on the ground,
it's in front of you.
I know, I don't know how to pronounce it. While he was on the ground, he waved to the referee to go give him a card, and he was on a fucking yellow card.
Who did
That's
it?
bullshit.
Fuck you, Garrett. The Italian left back for Spurs who played 83 minutes.
His name is
Undogi? Am I close? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but to your point, like if he gets that yellow for, doing the yellow,
whatever you want to
call it, that's only one man down for the rest of the game, which is another 20 minutes or so.
Which Liverpool were playing okay.
Yeah, and it's 1-1 at the time. So, I mean, you can at least hold on or try to hold on for a point at that point.
I don't know. I just think that the consistency with these games and the officiating has been fucking terrible. And it ruined the game for me. It honestly did.
So fast forward, Spurs get their game-winning goal, 96-minute own goal. I forget who sends the ball across. But just gets absolutely top shelved, I'm pretty sure, by Matip. And Spurs.
I think it was Porro who sends it in.
Was it? And then Spurs come away with 3
It was
points.
because he took his shirt off and was like holding it up like Messi did that one time. Like, dude, you just fucking sent it across and it was an own goal.
But it was a good cross.
I'm pretty sure when Messi did, he like dribbled through Madrid's whole team.
Yeah,
and then held up his jersey.
You're not
He's playing
fucking
against
Messi.
9 guys and he sends across it.
I know.
But shout out to Spurs. I mean, granted they didn't.
No,
it's
don't
not
even
their
shout out.
It's
It's not
the
their.
refs.
Terrible.
It's not their fault. The refs sucked. It's not like they didn't do anything wrong. They
Did you see
played their game.
McAllister too after the game? Like he posted something on social media.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're playing
yeah.
with like 12 men.
It was just Romero.
Romero,
Who's our
yeah.
yeah,
It was
Romero.
Romero. They're international teammates
Yeah.
at Argentina, but I think he's getting fined or something for
Oh, I'm sure.
for what he posted
I'm sure there's somewhere in their contracts
Yeah.
for the league that you can't just talk shit about the refs on social media.
openly.
All right, that was the big discussion game for the week. We had also fuck the Saturday 9-game slate schedule. Fucking hate that. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with that.
That sucked ass.
I just wish the times would have been a little varied.
Also, if you're gonna do that, have a better fucking game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm gonna sit there and watch one game, I really don't want it to be Forest Brentford.
So anyway, Forrest Brentford.
So here we go to Forest Brentford.
All right.
Here we go. Who wants to start off with?
So
this
another
one?
red card in this game. I thought it was not as soft. It was a double yellow. I think Turner had a pretty decent game, and
The goal was eh.
The goal was I think he probably could have done a better job saving that. But I thought the back line of Forest did great. I thought Bali and that 21-year-old Murillo. Anybody want to correct me here?
Who are we talking about?
Murillo.
The center back from-
Murillo.
Is
It's
that
a double L in Spanish.
double
I
L?
think.
He's Brazilian.
He's Brazilian, so yeah, probably Murillo.
Yeah, 21-year-old. They just signed from Corinthians. He looked good. I was pretty pumped about him. Him and Bali, I thought, made a good partnership. And I thought, every time there was a shot from Brentford, they were putting their body on the line. They were getting in front of, getting behind the ball. And I feel like Bali probably made like 3 or 4 blocks just by like diving in front of them. And I think if they had 11 guys on the field, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Matthias Jensen. I think he's one of the underrated like attacking midfielders in the league.
Love Jensen.
Like he's like solid. Like he's like that creative midfielder they need, and I think he's only gonna shine more once Tony's back if he stays, which is looking like he's not going to.
Yeah.
But they don't really have that goal scorer right now, but he still has like quite a few assists on the season, and
I think he's got 1 goal and 2 assists. On the
He's
season.
also their, I think, corner kick and free kick taker. So
Yeah.
that definitely helps. But yeah, drafted him in fantasy this year. Let me
Sorry, 2 goals and 1
Yeah.
assist on the season, Jensen.
Question
Question for you guys on this game.
Would you like to add?
Yeah. Is the Brentford bubble busted? They're currently in 14th place. They have 1 win, 4 draws, and 2 losses.
Were you aware there was a Brentford bubble?
well, I mean they were. I know what you're saying. Like,
Thanks,
there was
Dan.
a lot
I'll
of
try
hype.
to do the nice little alliteration.
There's
this fucking podcast. Garrett's got to be a dick.
There's a lot of hype around Brentford that like a lot of people compared them to Brighton, just the way that they're run and like the talent they find. Obviously, Brighton's on a higher scale, but I would say no. They are fighting with a lot of injuries and suspensions right now. Like they just had who is it? Who just had the ACL outside back?
Oh, Rico Henry.
Rico Henry.
Yep.
Ben
I liked
Mees.
him. I thought he was going to England soon. I thought
Yeah,
he was getting called up.
Ben Mee's been one of the best center backs, for them. He's always been that staple back there. He's been out for most of the games this season. Ivan Toney, again, they don't have their main talisman up front. So I think they're just trying. I think they're really trying to fight with depth right now, and that's something that they haven't had to do in the past. So I don't know. I would say maybe a little bit concerned, but once they're healthy, they should be all right.
Also, they didn't really. I mean, Nottingham has one shot on target in this game, scores 1 goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think they're going down. I'm not saying that, but where most people thought they would be, which would be top half, possibly fighting for Europa League, Europa Conference. I don't know if I see that this season.
I don't either.
I don't either. Well, I think obviously the Tony thing changes a lot. Not a lot of teams can lose their main number 9. That's that.
Yeah, but I
talented,
think even if Tony hadn't been suspended for gambling, I don't think he stays. I think Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, I think one of those teams snap him up.
like he just didn't leave United in there.
Well, I'm talking about a good team.
Ooh. All right, moving on. Last game of the weekend that was played earlier today. We're recording this on Monday. Fulham Chelsea. We can finally no longer talk shit about Chelsea not being able to score.
God, did Chelsea need this?
Yeah, seriously.
Although they literally scored 2 goals in 60 seconds and then didn't do anything else after that.
Yeah. But they did what they needed to do. I feel like Fulham were just so not ready to restart, and they just scored so quickly after. It's like
they just Fulham just kind of looked not great in this game all around. I felt like they just looked out of sorts at times.
Tim Ream did not look good.
Tim Ream looked really bad. I was upset. He's going to turn 36, I think. The end of the week?
Yeah, but he's had a good season so far. I mean, people just have bad games. It's just, I don't think this is anything to look farther than that unless it's a continuous trend. Mudryk gets his goal. You could tell how relieved he was to finally score.
It was like a genuine smile on his face.
Yeah,
it was like
Poch even looked relieved.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to feel for the guy. He's probably getting all the shit. Chelsea's not performing well. He was the big signing. He hasn't performed, hasn't scored.
Yeah.
I think Poch gave him a little hug as they walked off the field at halftime.
He did get subbed off at half, though, so I don't know if that was because of injury or precaution or whatever.
I think it's because they have 500 guys rostered.
Because they have 9 other wingers probably put in. Another thing here, we had Broha start up top, and I actually think I liked him better than Jackson.
Yeah.
I think he makes better runs. I think aside from when he absolutely skied that fucking offside chance 4 minutes in, he looked good.
If that wasn't offsides, I would be tearing into him right now.
I mean, granted, he didn't know that when he shot the ball, and he absolutely fucking skied it. But I think he was a better forward for the style of play that they have. I think he worked better off of getting in and behind, getting balls from the sides. I also thought Mudryk's positioning in this game was kind of interesting. He played a lot from the middle, which is weird because he's a winger. But there was a lot of times
tucked in.
because Colwell gets up so high, he was tucking in a lot. There was one time actually where him and Broha made the same run, which kind of fucked something up. But yeah, it was weird to see him kind of play so central when you're so used to him just darting up and down the side.
I don't love Colwell and Cucurella playing left and right back respectively. Cucurella's left-footed. Colwell he's also left-footed, but I like him better as a center back. I was confused when I looked at the back line.
He looked good going forward, so I don't think you want to. I don't know. I thought he looked good as an outside back.
I mean, he got an assist on the first goal.
Yeah, and a beautiful ball played in.
It was great.
And I guess Silva's going to be a mainstay, I think, until he's not. So that was a good line. Do you like that?
He's going to be a mainstay until he's not.
He's definitely going to play until he doesn't play.
Profound words.
that was like it's going to 50% chance of rain, it's 50% chance of sunshine, 50% chance of clouds. Can't be fucking wrong. I think Palmer's settling in nicely.
He looks good.
Yeah. I think Cole Palmer's going to. I think he's a great player. That was again in a situation where the reason he wasn't playing wasn't because he wasn't talented, is because there was 9 other guys ahead of him on the depth chart.
They have a buyback clause on him?
I don't know. I'm actually not sure. Anyone else?
I look at Fulham's forwards in this game, and I'm just a little concerned on where the goals are coming from. Like Jimenez 4 years ago, great goal scorer in the Premier League. Obviously, after the injury, he hasn't really been the same. Harry Wilson, he has his, little spurts of looking good. Willian is so hit or miss, and I know that as an Arsenal fan, it's more miss than it is hit, especially at his age now. And I just, if I'm Fulham, that's where I worry the most. Defensively, Tim Ream's aging, but I think they still have a pretty solid back line. And I think Paulinho is, probably one of the best or most underrated CDMs in the league.
Just re-signed it too. I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, he was gonna go to Bayern, but that fell through last second.
Yeah,
but
was he on the plane or something?
He took pictures.
Landed in Munich.
He took pictures in Bayern Munich, shit. But that concerns me. I don't know, when Traore starts getting his chance. He's
hurt right now.
Okay, so probably when he's
healthy and able to play.
But yeah, I just worry about goals coming from Fulham.
I think that I agree.
There we go.
That's all I'm going to say.
But Chelsea get a big win for them as they were not performing incredible. We'll see what happens next week. Okay, that is game week 7. What?
Sorry, I just looked at our notes and it says under games review, Clayton can orgasm about Villa.
Hey, dude, it was. Can I talk about it again? It was
No,
such a good
no.
game.
Shut the fuck up. All
Ollie
right.
Watkins
Shut
is
the fuck
just
up.
the next coming, man.
Shut the fuck up. All right, Dan, can you go to a fantasy review, please, for the fantasy followers out there?
Yes, fantasy review, week 6 in the Premier League. Or week 6 in our league, which is separate from the Premier League, which we had the conversation about.
Yeah, because some game weeks are combined if they're midweek games.
Yeah. So, top goal scorer this week, Garrett, go ahead. He's your boy.
Ollie, baby. Well, really, it's Clayton's boy, but this on fantasy is my boy. He had 3 goals and assists, 5 key passes, and honestly, I think he single-handedly almost could have won my matchup if I think the other person had like 62, and he had Watkins at 59.6.
Yeah. I mean, that has to be the highest score, or probably
That's one of the ones I think
I
I remember.
of the season for sure. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Odegaard's second with 32 points. He had 2 assists and 3 key passes. Again, looked really good. He had a goal too.
Missed that one. It's on me. I put the stats. On.
Trippier had 30 points, 1 assist, 5 key passes, and a clean sheet. I think he's really starting to find his groove this year.
Yeah, from last year, it was a little bit of a drop-off starting the season, but I think they're getting back in his full swing.
Yep. Anderson, also on Newcastle, 28.5, a goal, key pass, 10 clear. What?
Isn't that Palace's Anderson?
Oh, I was okay. Yeah, my bad. That's why you got to put the first name here.
That's my bad. Yeah, Anderson.
Screw me here.
Palace. Anderson.
This is Joachim Anderson from Palace, 28.5. He scored the goal, 1 key pass, 10 clearances, and a clean sheet. And then another one of Garrett's boys, Sufal, 27.5 points, another assist. Off to a good start this season.
Boom. All right, and everyone's favorite part. Who am I? Here we go.
Time to go
folks.
3-0.
Oh, I forgot I was wearing the headset. Almost just pulled it off the mic. Well, here we go. No one look at my notes here. Let me get
Not looking.
All right, ready.
Yep.
Who am I?
3 guesses again?
3 guesses each.
Okay.
All right. I signed with QPR at age 10.
You want to guess, don't you?
I do.
I do too. Are these all active players?
Yeah, it did. It's always going to be an active player in the
Okay.
Premier League right now.
Next question.
All right. My middle name is Shaquille.
I have a guess.
So do I.
Shit.
I don't want to say it yet, though.
We could do I could do like one. You could say at the same time, or you could not guess
No,
yet.
I want the next question. Next part.
All right. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica.
Ooh, okay.
Leon Bailey.
Incorrect.
Fuck. Oh, I should have known that. He never played for QPR.
Damn it. All right. Damari Gray.
Incorrect.
Oh, I think I know who it is.
It's got to be one.
Okay, ready?
Antonio.
Incorrect.
Fuck.
Oh, you got 2. You got to.
You have one. You have one guess left.
Wait.
You have one guess left. Okay. I've won PFA Young Player of the Year.
Raheem Sterling.
It is Raheem Sterling.
Let's go!
Nice.
There's only so many Jamaicans in the fucking league.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
once I put that in there, I figured it was going to be Damari Gray, Antonio, and I was like, someone's going to get there eventually.
Yeah. The only one I could think of is D. Cordova-Reed because I know he plays for Jamaica too.
I would have never gotten that. I knew that Sterling was like real into his
Yeah.
Jamaican roots.
The other ones I didn't get to say were currently a New Balance athlete, 82 caps for England, and then played for Chelsea, Liverpool, and
His
City.
middle name's Shaquille?
Yes.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until I got on Wikipedia, but yes, his middle name is Shaquille.
The QPR one threw me.
Yeah, I started with that one because I figured doesn't really narrow down too much. Who am I? Record is Dan has 2 wins. Clayton has 1 win. Brian not here, 0 wins. All right, now we have game week 8 coming up this weekend. We will preview those games with some score predictions. We're going to start off with, we're just going to go Dan on my left here. Luton Spurs early on Saturday, 7:30 start here in the States. Dan, what do you got?
Spurs 2-0.
All right. Dan, you're Dan. Hey, Dan, how
All
you
right, I'm
doing?
going again. Burnley, Chelsea.
Clayton, actually, we're going to go Fulham Sheffield. How we feeling?
3-0 Fulham.
In my opinion, that game has 0-0 tie written all over it. Burnley Chelsea. I think Chelsea continues their goal scoring. Let's go 3-1.
Wow. 3 goals.
Yeah, I feel it. United Brentford. Let's go back to Dan here.
United not great at Old Trafford so far to start the season. I'm going to go a 1-1 tie.
All right. Their slide continues. Clayton, we have Everton, Bournemouth. Clayton, we have Everton, Bournemouth.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay. I will take Palace Forest. Actually, this is a pretty interesting game. I
It's
kind of
a
like
fun
this
game.
one. Yeah. I'm going to stick with the draw theme here. I'm going to go 2-2, however. Dan, you probably have the most exciting game we're talking about. Well, second most exciting game. Brighton, Liverpool.
Some good games this week.
There's very good games this
I
week.
feel like Liverpool are going to come back with a vengeance this week. And I know I said Brighton would bounce back this week, but I still think Liverpool is going to win. I'm going to go 2-1. It's going to be a good game, 2-1.
All right, we're going to pass it over to Clayton for West Ham, Newcastle.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, give him the other one.
I'll give them both.
I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham.
Ooh, wow. You just don't like fucking Newcastle.
I don't. Kenny, my college roommate Kenny, ruined Newcastle for me with the exception of Almiron.
Clayton, we're going to go back to you.
4-0 Villa. Fuck Wolves. Fuck them and their fucking team.
Okay, well, we're going to move on from that one.
All right.
And then for the game of the week, I think we can say clearly is Arsenal, Man City. We are playing at Emirates, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you both should give us score prediction for this.
We're going to.
Okay.
I think you are too. Are we
Yeah, I
doing-
think we're going to do all this here.
all
Yeah.
this?
2-2.
I like that. 2-2.
2-1 Arsenal.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this game just has tie, or I've written all over it to me for some reason. Just have that feeling. But I would say, I mean, you guys are carrying a little bit more momentum, so we'll see. And you guys are home. But obviously, Arsenal is always a crazy game. So
Yeah, I think the last time we played you, I think we also had a red card at home. I think Xhaka got a red card.
shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I think the momentum is one thing. I also think not having Rodri,
Yeah, that's gonna fucking
I
kill
think
us in
that's
this
probably
game.
a big thing. But again, you have Haaland up front, so anything could happen. They always step up in these kind of games, so we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like De Bruyne is usually like the Arsenal killer with some of the goals, and he's not in there.
He's gonna come back
He's
from
just
injury. He's gonna.
Pep just announces him in the
Yeah.
starting 11.
There's
This week
also,
out
like-
of nowhere.
Tomiyasu gave you guys a goal last year too. Remember that? Like
Yeah.
he passed the ball.
That was a De Bruyne goal.
To
I think
De Bruyne, yeah.
and De Bruyne slotted one in. So this is the game of the week. I'm happy it's on Sunday, the last game of the weekend. We're going to be leading into a pretty exciting game there. With some good games this weekend, though. Some exciting ones to watch. See, what are we running at here? What do we got? What's our time? 1:02. That's not bad. Do we want to do another segment, boys?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
We'll do
All
one
right.
more.
So, not much of a segment here, but a ranking. Right now, give me the top 3 number 9s in the Prem.
Okay, everyone's going to say Haaland for one, right?
Okay, so give me the next 2.
Yeah. Like pure number 9.
Pure number 9.
Like, Son's been playing there. Are we counting him as a number 9?
For this season, I think we can count Son as a 9.
Okay.
Now, I want
Can
to...
What is this for? Is this like kind of include Tony in this?
No.
We'll say active players this season.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, active players this season. Top 3 number 9s. Now, we can talk about this because we could either say number 9, like best at playing that position, or we could take it in terms of the best footballer who happens to be playing a 9. So how do you want to talk about it? 'Cause
The
we
first,
could have
I would
this
just like
discussion.
to know: are we all unanimously agreeing Haaland's number 1?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Okay. So I would say we could put Son there at. I would honestly probably put him at 2, but I wouldn't call him an out and out number 9.
Well, that's so. Like my thought is like I said, we have to decide how we're discussing this. Is it number 9 is in terms of playing like doing what a number 9 does, or just the better player? Like, because for example, I think you could argue that Watkins is a better 9 than Son, but Son's a better player.
Watkins is just amazing all around.
I'm going to talk to you.
I'm not
because-
putting Watkins in my top 3.
You
But I'm just-
fuck.
I'm not.
But I'm just saying.
Who are you putting in Ketya?
But you get what
No.
I'm saying? You get what
I
I'm
know, I
saying?
do. I understand what you're saying.
It's like
Yeah.
I think Son's a better player, but I think Watkins is a better
So let's
nine.
just do straight up, out and out number 9s, not like wingers that
So-
play as the false 9 or something like
Well,
that.
you can include them, but like I'm saying, if you think Watkins is a better striker than Son, like is better 9 than Son, then you would say Watkins because Son might be a better player, but Watkins is a better at that position as a 9.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can include them, but you might think somebody's better.
Gotcha.
All right, so Holland is 1, is a unanimous decision.
I'm gonna go Isak too.
Isak at 2.
I think that's a bad idea
Why?
because I don't think he's as good as Watkins or Son.
I think he's better than Watkins.
I think you're a liar.
I think you're biased.
I'm gonna.
Oh, he's definitely biased.
Definitely biased.
Have we had the whole podcast should be called
Yeah.
Villa's Parade.
I didn't even talk about them that much. I feel like you guys just want to keep bringing them up because they're such a good team. I'm going to give a shout. I'm going to say for just number 9s, I'm going to go Holland at 1, Watkins at 2, and Anoui from Forest at 3.
Good shout.
3 goals, 2 assists on the season so far. He's been playing great. He's pretty much been their best attacking player of the season.
All right, Dan, how do we feel here? What's our thoughts? I know you said you can give your 3 in order, but I know you said 2 already.
I'm gonna go. Holland, Isak. I don't know where Isak. I don't know if Isak's 2 or 3. I'm between like 2 other people, and it's my bias, Jesus, or Nunez from Liverpool.
Nunez is a good shout.
All right.
You're not gonna say anything?
No, I am. I'm going to say
Okay.
mine. I was going to say how biased do I want to be or not.
Holland, and Holland.
I was going to go Holland, Alvarez. No, I'm kidding.
Bob.
I'm going to go, I think, again, obviously Holland is the one for us. Unanimous decision, not much to discuss there. I think it's close. It's tight. There's not a lot of like true out and out number 9s right now. So it makes it a little difficult. But I think
Watkins, you just got your 60 points.
I'm going to
It's 1
go.
week.
I honestly think I'm going to go Holland. This is going to be fucking crazy. Nunez, Watkins.
Yeah. See, fuck you, Dan.
I truly think Nunez is not. I just don't like. I feel like he's better than he gets credit for, and that's coming from a City fan. So
We talked about him in depth, like one of the earlier episodes about like, like he gets into good spots, and it's just once he starts scoring, he'll be fine. And he scored, once he got his chance last year.
yeah, but yeah. So I think I like that top number 9s. The fact that none of us included Son, none of us included.
Well, if we're gonna do that, I would put Son at 2, but I don't think he's number 9. I think he's
of
great
him more of a
attacking
winger.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
I'd
also
put him
it's
at
like
2.
it's tough because he's playing the 9 for Spurs, but how they're playing right now, it's like when De Bruyne played the 9 for City. It's
like
a
he's
9,
a
but
9.
Yeah.
it's not a 9. Like I said, that's why it's good to determine like what we're talking about as we have this discussion. All right, we go with the episode.
Hey, great episode, everybody. Thanks
All
for
right.
tagging along, kids.
Folks, thank you for listening. Dan, would you like to do a sign off before I do the whole end sign off here?
What sign off?
Do you, like the whole end thing?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Dan says bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, guys, follow us on League Pints. Thank you for listening at League Pints on YouTube, at League Pints on TikTok, at League Pints on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for listening. Look out for the cut from this episode, reels, stories, all that fun stuff. Thank you, guys.